Welcome to the DCHS Financial Management and Best Practices Training. My name is Kate Baber, and I serve as the DCHS Director of Strategic Partnerships. I will be leading the first part of today's training. I'm joined by my colleagues, Kevin Lowe, DCHS's Chief Financial Officer, and Nick McConney, DCHS's Finance Controller, who will be leading sections of the training. Let's get started with the training overview. Today's training is part of the Fiscal Stewardship Training series for DCHS contractors. The purpose of this training series is to clarify contractors' role in the management of public funds, including how contractors are supported by DCHS and what accountability looks like. DCHS is committed to making sure contractors have clear and equitable access to information to support their continued success in contracting with DCHS. The goal of today's training is to explain financial management best practices in a way that is easy for everyone to understand. You can access training recordings and materials at the DCHS Contractor Training website. Today's training is required by King County Ordinance 19978 for organizations that have a multi-year contract that is 18 months or longer with DCHS. Multi-year contractors are required to complete the training once every 3 years, not once per contract if they hold multiple contracts with DCHS, and may request a training waiver if they meet certain criteria, such as having a recent financial audit with no findings. More information about the training requirement, including how to request a waiver, is available on the DCHS training website. If you have any questions, please email DCHS provider support at kingcounty.gov. We're here to help. Here's a checklist of how contractors can meet the training requirement. First, access the training online at the DCHS training website. If you're watching this recording, you're in the right place. Second, the training must be completed by a current staff member with financial management or fiscal oversight responsibilities. Contractors can determine which staff meet this requirement, and example roles could include a finance manager, program manager, or senior leader. Third, the training is considered completed after the staff member watches the full training. And last of all, contractors submit the training completion attestation form to DCHS. The form is available on the DCHS training website and can be uploaded to Agiloft or emailed to DCHS provider support at kingcounty.gov. The goal of today's training is to support DCHS contractors by reviewing financial management best practices that are important to understand to successfully manage a DCHS contract funding award. By the end of this training, you should have a stronger understanding of where DCHS financial management requirements are defined, key accounting principles and best practices, and key internal controls and best practices. We will also share resources available to support your organization. DCHS is committed to supporting contractor success, including helping you successfully manage your contract funding award. Here are ways we can help. Contract support. Understanding your contract is key, and DCHS contract managers can help you understand and navigate your contract's requirements. Early communication. Please reach out to DCHS early to discuss program or contract concerns or opportunities. We may be able to help you or connect you to resources. Prior approval before making changes. Be sure to reach out to your DCHS contract manager to make sure proposed budget changes are allowed by your contract and approved before any changes are made. If you have any questions or need assistance, please email DCHS provider support at kingcounty.gov. Thank you for the important work you do every day. Next, we'll review DCHS financial management requirements. First, we'll cover where you can find DCHS financial requirements. Financial requirements are defined in DCHS contract terms. There are several places where requirements may be defined in a DCHS contract. The DCHS contract standard terms and conditions state the expectations for how a contractor manages finances, risk, personnel, etc. for the work to succeed. These contract terms are called standard or sometimes called boilerplate because they typically apply to all DCHS contracts. You can view DCHS's standard terms and conditions at the DCHS contracting website listed at the bottom of the slide. Individual contracts may have additional financial requirements in their statement of work or exhibits, if applicable. Today's training will focus on the requirements in the DCHS standard terms and conditions. Understanding your individual contract's specific requirements is key to successfully managing your DCHS contract funding award. Your contracts may have additional requirements that are not covered in today's training. Why do contracts have fiscal requirements? Before reviewing DCHS fiscal contract requirements, we first want to share why these are required and where the requirements come from. DCHS is responsible for stewarding public funding and is accountable to the public. Some contract requirements, such as maintaining records that document and justify expenditures, are part of DCHS's responsibility to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse, and to ensure public funds are being used as they are intended. By contracting with DCHS, contractors are also responsible for stewarding public funds. Both DCHS and DCHS contractors are responsible for the financial stewardship of public resources. Many of the DCHS contract standard terms and conditions are required by laws and regulations. DCHS regularly updates its standard terms and conditions to reflect current laws and regulations. Sometimes, the contract's funding source has requirements that DCHS is required to pass through to contractors. For example, DCHS contracts that include federal or state funding often have financial reporting requirements that DCHS must comply with to continue to pass through this funding. For local King County funding, such as the Veteran, Seniors, and Human Services Levy, implementation plans that are adopted by the King County Council often have requirements that are included in contracts. DCHS also requires contractors to implement financial best practices in accordance to standards that are well established for nonprofits, businesses, and governments. One example of best practices are called Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, which are a set of accounting standards issued by the Financial Accounting Standards Board and the Government Accounting Standards Board. Next, we'll review DCHS contract standard terms and conditions that are related to fiscal requirements, including financial management sections, subcontracting and contract assignment sections, and contract compliance. The DCHS contracting overview training, which is part of the Fiscal Stewardship Training series, provides more information about the DCHS contracting process. Today, we will review the list of financial management sections that are featured in the DCHS Standard Terms and Conditions. Section 3, Compensation and Method of Payment, describes the standards which must be met for payment to be issued. Section 4, Internal Control and Accounting System. This section states the contractor must have appropriate financial management systems in place to do business. This is very important, and we will cover this requirement in depth in this training. Section 6, Maintenance of Records, states the requirements for the contractor to maintain records such as accounting personnel or financial. Section 9, Financial Report Submission, states the contractor must submit a financial reporting package and describes the requirements. Section 17, Non-discrimination and payment of a living wage, requires contractors to pay their staff a living wage. In 2026, the hourly minimum wage for employees of DCHS contractors is $20.82. Section 21, Equipment Purchase, Maintenance, and Ownership, states who owns and is responsible for any equipment purchased with contract funds. The sections of the DCHS standard terms and conditions that are related to subcontracting, and contract assignment are detailed here. Section 15, Assignment, states the process for transferring the contract to another entity if needed and approved by DCHS. Section 16, Subcontracting, states the requirements for any subcontract, which is when the contractor enters into a separate contract with another entity to perform some or all of the work. For the DCHS contract, the subcontract is between the contractor and another entity, not DCHS. Section 31, No Third-Party Beneficiaries, states that there are no additional parties to the contract. The DCHS Standard Terms and Conditions details contract compliance in the following sections. Section 7, Evaluations and Inspections, states the expectations the contractor should have for DCHS to conduct audits, monitoring, reviews, etc., related to the contract. The DCHS Fiscal Contract Compliance Training, which is part of the Fiscal Stewardship Training series, reviews the DCHS fiscal monitoring process in detail and is a great resource to learn more about this requirement. Section 10, Corrective Action, states the process for corrective action if DCHS determines the contractor is out of compliance with the contract. Section 26, Entire Contract, states the contractor understands the contract is complete, no additional terms are incorporated outside of the contract, and work needs to be completed in a timely manner. Here we have a knowledge check. Where are DCHS financial management requirements defined? Choose all that apply. A, in DCHS Contract Standard Terms and Conditions, also called the boilerplate. B, in an individual contract's scope of work. C, in an individual contract's exhibits, if applicable. Or D, all of the above. The correct answer is D, all of the above. Financial management requirements are defined in your DCHS contract. You can find your individual contract's requirements in the standard terms and conditions, scope of work, and exhibits if applicable. Please note that financial requirements can vary depending on the requirements of the specific contract fund source. It's important to understand your contract, and please reach out to your DCHS contract manager if you have questions about your contract requirements. This slide concludes the overview section of the training. The next section, covering accounting principles and best practices, is available on the DCHS training website.